Today we are doing Math 6, Mission 4, Lesson 3, Interpreting Division Situations. We are going to skip the warm-up. The warm-up asks me to flash dots on the screen for you so that you can visually count them. I'm not going to do that, so we're going to just skip over the warm-up and head straight into our activity. Okay, activity 1 says, draw a diagram and write a multiplication equation to represent each of the following situations. Then answer the question about each situation. All right, May has 4 jars. In each jar, she puts 2 1/4 cups of homemade blueberry jam. Altogether, how many cups of jam are in the jar? Okay, so we have 4 jars, 2 1/4 cups in there, and then we are trying to figure out altogether how many cups of jam are in the jars. Okay, so this is what this is going to look like. We're going to draw our diagram, and we have 4 jars. So we're going to split this into 4. 1. All right, so these are our jars. And then in each jar, she puts 2 1/4, 2 1/4, 2 1/4. There we go. Okay, now we want to know how many total cups of jam are in all of the jars together. Okay, so if I were going to write a multiplication equation, which is what they ask, I would do, there are 4 jars, and I have 2 1/4 in each jar. And so if I multiply that together, because multiplication is just a faster way to do repeated addition. So I could do 2 1/4 plus 2 1/4 plus 2 1/4 plus 2 1/4 and get what it is all together. But I'm going to do multiplication because it's quicker. Okay, and that will get us how many are all together. Okay, so I know 4 times 2 is 8. So 4 times 2 is 8. And then 4 times 1/4, well, that's 4 over 1 times 1 over 4. And you just multiply straight across. And that gets me 4 over 4. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. So 8 plus 1 equals 9. So there are 9 cups all together. And remember, you need to label whatever it is, percentage, cups, pounds, etc. All right, so we drew our picture, we wrote our multiplication problem, and then we solved. We answered the question. All right, 2, Priya filled 5 jars using a total of 7 1/2 cups of strawberry jam. How many cups of jam are in each jar? All right, so we have our diagram, and it tells us we have 5 jars and a total of 7 1/2 cups together. Okay, so this time we have 5 jars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jars. And we don't know how much goes in each, but we do know our total is 7 1/2. So what we really need to figure out is what goes in each one of these boxes. How many cups of strawberry jam goes in each one? So basically what it's asking is, we know we have 5 jars, and we're going to multiply it by what goes in each jar, but we don't know what it is. So we're going to multiply it by the question mark, and that, whatever it is, should equal 7 1/2. Well, multiplication and division problems, in like 2nd, 3rd grade, you learned about fact families. So let me just give you a rundown of fact families. So if you have 2 times 4 equals 8, then you can do 4 times 2 equals 8. And that's the multiplication side, but there's also a division side to fact families. It says 8, so whatever the answer is, divided by 4 equals 2. See how we're still using the same numbers? And 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So any multiplication problem can be turned into a division problem. Okay, so this would look like 7 1/2, because that's our answer. See how I took this 8 and then put it in the front as our answer? That is going to be our dividend. So 7 1/2 divided by Well, we don't know the question mark. We're trying to figure that out. So it's got to be divided by the 5. So 5 becomes our divisor, and that equals our question mark, which is our quotient. So we're going to do 7.5 divided by 5. So you can turn that into an improper fraction and work it that way, or you can turn it into a decimal. I'm going to work it as an improper fraction. So 7 times 2 is 14 plus 1 is 15 over 2 divided by 5 over 1. To divide fractions, we keep, we change, and we flip. So that looks like we keep, we change to multiplication, and then we flip the fraction. So that gets me 15 over 10. Okay? And 15 over 10, that can be reduced to 3, oops, not 2. That gets me 3 halves. You can leave it as a improper fraction, or you can change it. So our answer in a mixed number form is 1.5 cups. 1.5 cups goes in each one of these. That is our question mark. All right, let's look at the next one. Han had some jars. He put 3/4 cups of grape jam in each jar, using a total of 6 3/4 cups. How many jars did he fill? All right, this one is tricky because they don't tell us how many jars there are, and this is a fraction. So we have something, we have a jar that goes in, and 3/4 of a cup goes in each jar, but we don't know how many jars there are. We do know, however, that the total is 6 3/4 cups. So we have some amount of jars times 3/4, the amount we put in the jars, must equal 6 3/4. Okay, just like we talked about with this fact family, we can rearrange this multiplication problem to be a division problem. So our total comes up to the front and is our dividend, and we divide it by the one that we know, which is 3/4. So 3/4 becomes our divisor, and then our question mark becomes our quotient. Now, in order to work this, I have to turn 6 3/4 into an improper fraction. So 6 times 4 is 24, plus 3 is 27. So we have 27/4 divided by 3/4, and we keep 27/4. We change to multiplication, and we flip. I am going to cross reduce. So 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 4 one time. 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 goes into 27 9 times. 9 times 1 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1. So that equals 9. So we have 9 jars that they fill. Woo! Okay. Activity 2. Answer these questions. All right. So it says, answer these questions about Kieran making granola. To make one batch of granola, so one batch, Kieran needs 26 ounces of oats. The only measuring tool he has is a 4-ounce scoop. How many scoops will it take to measure 26 ounces of oats? Well, you need to ask yourself, does 4 ounces, or does 4 go into 26 evenly? And the answer is no. So we're going to have a whole number, but we're also going to have a decimal or a fraction that goes with it. So will the answer be more than 1 or less than 1? Well, we have to do 26 divided by 4. Our dividend is much bigger than our divisor. So the answer is going to be more than 1. Okay, because we have learned that if the dividend is much larger than the divisor, the answer is going to be more than 1. All right. B, write a multiplication equation and a division equation that represents this situation. Use the question mark to represent the unknown quantity. All right, so we know that we're using a 4-ounce scoop. We don't know how many scoops we need, right? So that becomes our question mark, but we know that the 4 ounces and the scoops must equal 26 ounces. That's our multiplication problem. Now let's do our division problem. Well, our answer becomes our dividend. So 26 divided by, we only know 4, so we're going to say 4 equals our question mark. So 26 is our dividend, 4 is our divisor, our question mark is our quotient. Okay, find the unknown quantity. If you get stuck, draw a diagram. All right, so I know that I have 4-ounce scoops. So I know I have 4 ounces, that's a scoop, and then another 4 ounces and another 4 ounces, right? But I don't know how many scoops I'm going to need. But I do know 4 times 6 gets me 24. So that's pretty close to 26. And that leaves me 2 left over. Well, how many times does 4 go into 2? Well, 4 doesn't go fully into 2, but 2 is half of 4. So we really get a half of a scoop that has to happen to equal our 26. So we have 6 scoops here plus half of a scoop there. So our answer should be 6.5 scoops. To do that, let's do 26 divided by 4. So we can do 26 divided by 4. 4 goes into 2 0 times. 4 goes into 26 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. 2 decimal 0. Bring the 0 down. 4 goes into 20. 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. And we are done. 6.5. Is that what we said? Yep. 6.5 scoops. Or 6.5. All right. 2. The recipe calls for 14 ounces of mixed nuts. To get that amount, Karen uses 4 bags of mixed nuts. Write a mathematical question that might be asked about this situation. Well, if we have 14 ounces total and he uses 4 bags, well, the question should be how many ounces of mixed nuts are in each bag. So that's what I'm going to write. Okay, so now that we know our question, we can write an equation. What might the equation 14 divided by 4 equals question mark represent in Kieran's situation? Well, the question mark represents how many ounces? In each bag, right? The 14 is the total ounces. And the 4 are the number of bags. Number of bags. So this really says I'm dividing my total number of ounces by 4 bags. So how many bags or how many ounces go in each bag? Then it says find the quotient. We know what a quotient is. The quotient is the answer to a division problem. So we have 14 divided by 4. And that'll tell me how many ounces are in each bag. 4 goes into 4 goes into 1 0 times. 4 goes into 14 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. So that's 2. decimal, bring down the 0. 4 goes into 25 times. So our answer is 3.5. Now, let's draw a diagram just for fun. So we have 4 bags. So I'm going to split this into 4. We know the total number of ounces is 14. And so we need to know how many go in each one of the 4 bags. So that would be 14 divided by 4. And this is 3.5 in each bag, because we did 14 divided by 4. All right, please review your lesson summary.